8 most dangerous countries in Africa for 2021. GPI is the acronym for the Global Peace Index. This measures the comparative environments of countries for their peacefulness. This GPI report is drafted and released by the IEP Institute for Economics and Peace. This index initially launched in 2009, and since that time, reports have been released annually every year. A highly esteemed international panel of experts on peace consults to create the final rankings and report. The experts consulted for this report come from peace think tanks and institutes who work with data gathered and compiled by the Economist Intelligence Unit. Using their information, we have ranked the 8 most dangerous countries in Africa. At number 8, Mali. Mali has 145 GPI rank. Mali is a landlocked nation in West Africa. This 8th biggest state of Africa has a population of only 19.1 million. Its capital is Bamako. A high 67% of the national population was under 25 years of age back in 2017. The national economy is built upon mining and agriculture. Among the national resources of great value are gold and salt. In fact, Mali is the 3rd greatest gold producer on the continent to this day. Mali has been beset by armed conflict since January of 2012. That year, the Tuareg rebels seized control of a northern territory in Mali. By April, they had declared their own nation called Azawad. The struggle became more severe because of a corresponding military coup in March of the same year. Fighting erupted between the Tuareg and various other rebel factions. Mali appealed to the French, its former colonial masters, for help. France dispatched a military expedition under the name of Operation Several by January of 2013. France dispatched a military expedition under the name of Operation Seval by January 2013. It took only a month for the French-led Malian national forces to retake the majority of the northern rebel territory. On 28 July 2013, the country went to the polls and finished its run of second election on the 11th of August, followed by legislative elections on 24 November and 15 December of that same year. Number 7, Nigeria, 148 GPI rank. Nigeria's newer capital is purpose-built Abuja. The country has a constitution that declares it to be a democratic and secular nation. The once British colony gained its independence on October 1st of 1960. A civil war shook the nation from 1967 through 1970. Since the end of the Civil War, the country has rotated back and forth between a democracy with civilian governments to military-backed dictatorships. Only in 1999 did the country reach a lasting state of democracy. It was the presidential election of 2011 that the international community labeled as Nigeria's first fair and free one. Nigeria today has been called the giant among African countries. Because of its enormous population and powerful national economy, the country boasts over 206 million residents, making it the most highly populated nation-state on the continent, as well as the 7th biggest on earth by population. Only India and China have larger youth populations than does Nigeria. Over 90 million Nigerians are less than 18 years old. The economy is also the 24th biggest in the globe per the IMF 2020 estimate. It has a value of $500 billion in nominal GDP level and $1 trillion according to the measurement of PPP purchasing power parity. The country's national debt is refreshingly low at only 11% debt to GDP. Number 6, Sudan, 149 GPI rank. According to 2018 national estimates, Sudan counts a population of 43 million and is the 3rd biggest nation by territory on the continent. It is also the 3rd largest of the Arab world. Until a few years ago, the Sudan enjoyed the status as largest nation in both Africa and the Arab world before the secession of South Sudan in 2011. Sudan gained its independence in 1956. It has suffered the rule of numerous unstable military regimes alternating with parliamentary democracy since then. The country went under strict Islamic Sharia law in 1983 under the leadership of Ghaffar Nimiri. It only made tensions reach a boiling point between the Islamic North and Christian South. The rivalries between religious beliefs, language, and political power burst into a violent civil war between the National Islamic Front-backed government armies and the Sudan's People's Liberation Army-backed southern rebels. This only ended when South Sudan gained full independence from the North back in 2011. Until 2019, Sudan suffered from a 30-year duration military dictatorship under the leadership of Omar al-Bashir. His governing choices led to a Darfur region war in 2003. The leader has been accused of performing ethnic genocide. In the end, the army killed between 300,000 and 400,000 locals. A successful coup overthrew Bashir on April 11th of 2019. At number 5, Democratic Republic of Congo, 155 GPI rank. The biggest nation of sub-Saharan Africa and second biggest of the continent is the DRC. The Democratic Republic of Congo, formerly known as Zaire, is also the 11th biggest territorially on Earth. The population amounts to 84 million, earning its spot of largest French-speaking nation and fourth biggest nation by population on the continent. The DRC is also the 16th highest populated nation in the globe. There has been a continuous military struggle in the eastern region of Kivu dating back to 2015. The large territory of the DRC is based on the Congo River basin. This country boasts vast natural resources but has not been able to capitalize on them because of poor infrastructure, political instability in government, severe corruption, and little development despite several hundred years of colonial exploitation and theft by the Belgians and their imperialist King Leopold. The three largest cities are capital Kinshasa, Lubumbashi, and Mbuji-Mayi, the latter two of which are mining cities. The biggest single export from the DRC is raw minerals, over half of which went to China in 2012. The appalling level of conditions is evident in their poor national 176 ranking, that's out of 187 total, on the Human Development Index. For 2018, approximately 600,000 native Congolese had immigrated from conflicts in the east and center of the nation to neighboring states that are more peaceful. There are a shocking 2 million children at risk of starvation, while the conflict has forced the displacement of over 4.5 million inhabitants. Number 4. Libya, 156 GPI rank. The fourth biggest country territorially in Africa is Libya. The Islamic country is also the 16th biggest on the planet by land. Libya is blessed with the 10th biggest proven oil reserves on earth as well. Its capital and largest city is Tripoli on the northwest coast. More than 1 million of the 6 million inhabitants of Libya call Tripoli home. The country's second city is called Benghazi, found in the northeast of the country. The nation gained independence from Italy back in 1951. It existed as a kingdom under King Idris from 1951 to 1969. At this point, Muammar Gaddafi overthrew the king in the bloodless coup. He presided over the Libyan Cultural Revolution during the year 1973 up to the point he died in the Libyan Civil War in the year 2011. Sadly for Libya, the nation has not known real peace since the Libyan Civil War erupted. A second civil war began between the two rival governments in Tripoli backed by the West and the Tobruk of the East. It has been made more savage by the participation of numerous Islamic and tribal militias. The talks to end the Second Civil War continue to this day. At number 3, Central African Republic, 157 GPI rank. The Central African Republic attained its independence in 1960. It then suffered through a variety of dictatorial rulers that included a brief attempt at a monarchy. In the 1990s, the clamor for democracy caused the country to undergo its initial multiple-party elections in the year 1993. The first democratically elected president was André Félix Patassi. He later fell to General François Bozize during a 2003 coup. The following year, the Bush War erupted in the Central African Republic. Although peace treaties were signed first in 2007, then in 2011, the civil war began afresh by 2011. Per the year 2020, the CAR suffers still from the civil war that has not seen a conclusive ceasefire since it began in the year 2012. The nation is well endowed with substantial valuable minerals and resources like crude oil, diamonds, gold, uranium, lumber, cobalt and hydropower, along with significant amounts of arable land. Yet, it remains one of the most impoverished nations on earth. Its GDP per capita, ranked by purchasing power parity, is the lowest in the world per 2017. The Human Development Index shows it to be the second worst ranked out of 189 nations per year 2019. Finally, the CAR has the dubious dual honors of being the least healthy nation on earth and the worst place to live like a young person. At number 2, South Sudan with 161 GPI rank. The newest country in Africa is South Sudan. The country was created when a group of people broke away successfully from Sudan back in 2011. The biggest city and capital is Juba. A referendum, which was supported by the International Community for Independence of South Sudan, received 98.83% support. Unfortunately, the nation has experienced first ethnic violence and then a civil war from the year 2003 until February 22nd of 2020. At this point, the two rival claimants, Riek Machar and Salva Kiir, agreed to a unity compromise that saw them form a coalition government together. With 12 million people who are primarily Nilotic tribes, the nation is also among the youngest nations demographically on earth. About half of the population is less than 18 years of age. Most of the people are Christians, with a small minority of traditional African tribal religions also present in South Sudan. At number 1, Somalia with 163 GPI rank. Somalia and its 15 million inhabitants have been called the most homogeneous country culturally on the earth. Approximately 85% of the citizens claim to be ethnically Somali. A few minorities mostly live in the south of Somali. The two national languages of Somalia prove to be the Somali and Arabic. The majority of the population adheres to the Islamic faith as Sunnis. In 1969, the Supreme Revolutionary Council grabbed power to set up the Somali Democratic Republic, which fell around 22 years after the fact in 1991. The Somali Civil War simply destroyed the country and caused the majority of its regions to go back to religious traditional law. By the onset of the new millennium, many federal administrations became established. The insurgents suffered the loss of the majority of their territory, majority they had managed to seize power over the past decade by 2012 mid-year. An attempt to set up democracy ensued. August of 2012 saw the passage of a provisional constitution. The federal government of Somalia arose that same month and year. Mogadishu, the capital, then became rebuilt after over 2 decades of fighting. Somalia's economy today is highly informal. It relies heavily on livestock, telecommunications, and overseas Somalis re-emitting money back home to their families. This is the list of the 8 most dangerous African countries in 2021. What do you think of the list? Would any of these things stop you from visiting any of these African countries? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a like, and while you're at it, hit the subscribe button as well as the bell to be notified when Afropage releases a new video. Don't go anywhere, we have plenty more great videos like this one waiting for you. Here's one I think you might like.